All right. Hello, beautiful people. Today is a Thursday, actually. It's a Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, and it's 8:41 p.m., the day before July 4th. And I have no plans of what I'm going to do. I had a plan in my head of what I wanted to do, but maybe I'll just talk about that later. Let's just talk about body odor stuff because this is a body odor vlog. It's funny, I have this channel for maybe 7 years or so. And many times I don't even really talk about body odor. I mean, I guess I do, but in any case, I guess I have a couple of notes or things I'll try to go over. I just don't want to just randomly rant about stuff and then not really, I don't know, cover things I feel like sort of important. So, I'm listing at this moment right now, I have this plan where I'll put out a video, whether it's relating to anything like an article, any new theories I have, maybe a topic, or maybe me responding to comments, and then the week after that, I'll just put a vlog. So I'll have a video about something, whatever, some random stuff, and then I'll have a vlog, and I'm going to try to do it in that order. And I think in the last couple of videos I made, I was talking about the microbiome, and if I haven't, then you're eventually going to watch these videos. It's going to be about the microbiome and how I was suggesting that if you did a number of tests, went to a number of doctors, took a number of tests, but they couldn't find anything wrong with you, maybe you should get like a GI map or some type of microbiome test to look into your digestive system. They are able to analyze your stool, which is your poop, and then maybe be able to determine if you have healthy poop or you have a good amount of healthy bacteria within your digestive system and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I know this audio sucks because my headset that I usually use to talk, for some reason the audio is not retrieving the audio. The input is not being retrieved whenever I'm talking to the mic, so I have to use like my crappy microphone. So it has like this weird echo, reverb, whatever it's called. So it doesn't sound clear and distinct. It doesn't have this clear and distinct sound. But this is the best I got. Maybe I should buy a new mic. I don't know. In any case, let me just continue forward. So like I was talking about, microbiome. If many people like me, I had this since the age of 15. I'm 35 now, so I have technically had it for 20 years. And maybe it was even before that time. Maybe I started getting a little bit funky at 14 or 13. But, people were just tolerating my funk. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make here is, took a number of tests, went to a number of doctors, gastroenterologists, what are these other people called? Dermatologists, regular primary care physicians, geneticists, took tests, couldn't find anything abnormal. It was only when I took like a microbiome test where it showed some type of difference in my microbiome. It showed that it's like slight gut dysbiosis. It showed that I had a high amount of certain negative bacteria. It showed I might have a low immune system score, or at least what they determined to be a low immune system. So I had a number of things that it showed that I needed to improve on. And that was like eye-opening to me because like with many tests I do, it shows I'm fine for the most part. So I don't know if that is a reason why, if many of the things that they find in my microbiome is one of the major reasons why I have this odor, but it's the best I can go off of because I already tested myself at TMAO or not, and it came back negative. So the best thing I can think of is something gut related. This is why I was trying to do this routine from this guy who made a post on Reddit, because a lot of the things that he suggested or his theories or ideas, I already had an idea or felt that way. I already felt like there's something within the gut microbiome or within the digestive system that is out of whack. A lot of people think it's the liver. Maybe it is the liver. When I did like these basic tests from my primary care physician, they always say like my kidney or liver is fine. So I don't know what to think of that in terms of like if there's, because a lot of people think that there's just something messed up with their liver. Maybe it is. Maybe it was at a certain point, but I don't know. It could be something else. It's still a mystery. That still hasn't really been defined or figured out. A lot of people also believe they have leaky gut. At least with my microbiome test, it said I didn't have any leaky gut at all. So that's a whole thing. And I'm gonna make a video about the Thorne test results. And if you haven't seen it already, it probably, if I haven't published it, it's eventually going to come out. And then I'm going to show my Thorne test results. And it also suggests, at least within Thorne, it suggests a certain type of diet you follow, which is like a low FODMAP diet. And I already had success with low FODMAP because, at least for me, I noticed the odor got worse if I ate anything related to meat or sugar. And that's not really, if it was meat per se, just meat in general, then with T-mal, of course, like, because meat has high amounts of choline. But sugar was one of those things where it's like, there's not really evidence that sugar should proliferate or make it worse if you have T-mal. But in my case, it did. So that was like one of the clear distinctions or signs that I don't have T-mal. And if you do have some type of odor, and you feel like sugar is like a major culprit as to making your odor worse or exacerbating it, you might not have T-mal. You might have something completely different. Some people think it's SIBO related. Some people think it's, some type of negative bacteria that is worsening your odor. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's somewhere in between. But yeah, I already did a Thorne result test back in March. And I got the results in April. And my thought process was every 4 months, I'm going to consistently take it to see if I make any improvements. Like if my microbiome has improved in some capacity. And if it does, do I see that reflected when I'm out and about doing activities? So I'm already getting into like kickball. I'm into like adult kickball, tennis. But this, it's funny, like, I wasn't able to sign up to tennis again because like the group is filled. So I can't really play tennis. So now I need to find another sport, another activity to get into. I guess I can go back into indoor rock climbing. So I'll try to do that this month. And then if tennis comes back, I'll do that again next month in August. But I'm trying to get into these places, into these activities to actually be around people because currently with my job, I work remotely. So 90% of the time I'm staying inside my apartment. So I can't really gauge whether or not, unless I go outside to get groceries, I don't see reactions like I used to, but still it doesn't mean you don't smell funky, right? So I'm trying to be in like physically active activities where I'm around lots of people and then be able to gauge whether or not I smell bad. So that's the thing that's happening. But the point I was going to make with the Thorne results is that, I have this plan in my head that every 4 months, I'm going to retake the test to see if there's any difference, positive difference, and just continue to do that until I feel like, okay, I'm at good metrics or whatever the case. Now I know Thorne is like the cheapest one, then maybe if I chose a more expensive one, it'd be better, but who knows? But in any case, that's all my ranting about Thorne stuff. Next thing is like video ideas I had. I thought about doing like a what I eat on a daily basis. Because maybe that'll help people, give people inspiration. Maybe I can read comments and people say, hey, maybe you should try this instead of trying that. Speaking of eating and stuff like that, I've been watching for the last couple of weeks. I've been watching a lot of food challenges, like these, like 10,000 calorie challenge or 20,000 calorie challenge. I've been watching like so many of them from just random YouTubers who just consume tons of donuts and Oreo cookies and, you know what I mean, pizza, because they want to do some type of challenge. And many of these people who do these 10,000 calorie challenges are like already like fitness influencers, or they already like very skinny or in a very good, a healthy weight, but they do like these cheat days or cheat meals where they just consume a surplus amount of calories. Most of the time they eat donuts, which I never was a big donut fan. I mean, but if you ever partake or looked into any of these like videos where they actually do these 10,000 calorie challenges, like the number one thing they always go for is like donuts in the morning. I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck, donuts are cool, but donuts are not all that, you know what I mean? I've been thinking about to myself, like, if I ever do a cheat day, I was going to consistently do cheat days like every couple of months. That was like a video idea I had some time ago, but now I'm like, I really want to cure this shit. So I don't want to like go outside of my diet. So if there is like a cheat day, if I ever do some type of cheat day, it's going to be within the confinements of like a low FODMAP. And usually it's like, you can't really eat sugar. You know, you can't eat sugar, or you can't eat like wheat because it has fructans. You can't eat certain fruit. You know what I mean? So it would have to be in the confines of low FODMAP. So it had to be like potato chips or something. You can eat chicken and stuff, but I don't think you can eat fried food actually, which sucks. I don't know. In any case, that was an idea I had. Another thing I thought about, since we're still on the topic of food, is low FODMAP, because a lot of people don't know about low FODMAP. A lot of people, in terms of diet, they either go carnivore, keto, vegan. I was like vegan for a very long time. And now I'm like low FODMAP, which technically you can eat meat, but I don't. Because again, like when I tried to do the chicken and salad diet, I still got weird reactions, or people acted weird around me. So I was like, after I do this thing for 30 days, I'm going to go back to just eating vegetables or whatever the case. So I still do that, but I drink kefir. I start drinking kefir a lot. And so that technically makes me a vegetarian low FODMAP. But yeah, I'm just doing that, and maybe I should go into detail about low FODMAP. I thought about making more videos about responding to comments, because, you know, sometimes people leave comments I want to, elaborate on, because they might ask questions. I want to revisit old ideas. Like I want to redo like the intro to the channel. I thought about annually just making a new video of the intro to this channel, because maybe it will change along every year. Or like methods. I had like a video about methods to reduce my body odor. Here's the top 5 things I did to reduce my body odor. Maybe I make an annual video every year about the top 5 methods if it ever changes, right? You know, and then I had like a video about like this voting poll. It wasn't a voting poll. I basically made this, like, within Google, there's Google Forms, right? So I made this video, this like voting poll, maybe last year, about effective treatments. Maybe I should pull that shit up, so you can take a look at it. Hold up. We the boys. Let me move this and do this and do this. Right. Wow, and it has 105 responses. I haven't went back to this in a long time. And yeah, I thought this was interesting. I was thinking to myself, maybe I should make one every year. And I also thought to myself, maybe I should create a video, another form about the effective food you eat. Because everybody who feels like the odor is coming from their diet, everybody believes, oh, it's either this or it's either that or it's either whatever. There has to be some foods that everybody agrees with is not going to have like a negative, will not negatively impact their odor. And if we can figure out what that is, I think that will be beneficial to people. So that's another idea I have in my head. What else did I have ideas? I'm trying to think. Because I'm looking at my notes here. Yeah, that was all that I had with regards to that video ideas. So there's a number of ideas I have that I'm probably going to try to implement and put within the remainder of this year. It's almost the end of the year, by the way, which is crazy to me. And it's funny. It's like when I was, when I was in school. So when did you start going to school? Like at 5 to 18, between 5 to 18. I always was hoping for the end of the year because you want to become older every year, right? But now, like when you're in your 30s, you're like dreading the end of the year because for some reason in my mind, every time a year passes, I have more and more gray hairs. I don't know why I keep obsessing over gray hairs. I guess at least in my eyes, it's indicative of you're closer to death. So once you feel like I'm closer to death, it's like I don't feel good about it. The gray hairs is just indicative. It's just a common reminder. Hey, you don't really have too much life left. At least that's how my brain processes it. What else? What's else happening in my neck of the woods? Yeah, mentioned kickball, tennis, rock climbing. I don't have tennis this month because I didn't sign up and quick enough because now the class is full, so I can't actually go into doing tennis. I only been doing tennis for like 2 months or so, and I don't know, man. I do feel like people think I smell bad. I haven't heard distinctly a person say something, but I had these instances where people murmur under their breath when they're close to me. Because like when you're out in tennis and you're doing this work, it's like hot. I'm sweaty and shit. And sometimes when you do because like with mini tennis practice, they just throw a lot of balls at you and you like swat them with the tennis racket, whatever case, and then eventually you have to pick up the tennis balls. So, since there's several people within the group, we all pick up tennis balls together, and maybe they had to get close to me, or I had to get close to them to pick up the tennis balls and put them back into this cart. And I remember this one, should I even tell the story? I don't know. There was just this one black girl. She had the booty of Serena. You know what I mean? She had a fat ass. I don't know if I should say that. Anyways, I remember her murmuring under her breath, where it sounded like, wow, I said something to the effect like, this guy smells terrible or some shit like that. I'm like, damn. But at the same time, it wasn't so clear for me to be like, yeah, 100% I know for a fact, because it's murmuring. They how people say something underneath their breath because they don't want to say it out loud, but they also still want to say it, because they want to, I don't know, get it off their chest. It's like a cowardice technique, to be honest. But in any case, I thought I heard something to that effect. I feel like many of the two gym instructors start talking shit about me when they leave. But I don't know, it could be paranoia. With kickball, I only went to kickball 2 times because I was supposed to go 4 times, but in one of the times it rained. It was just raining, so the kickball was canceled. And this week it's canceled because because of 4th of July week. So they just canceled it. So I feel like a lot of people were like, I don't know. Again, it could just be like years of just dealing with this condition and having paranoia, or it could just be like I'm just able to assess the situation correctly. You know what I mean? It could be a combination of both. Who knows? And that's the thing. I will say, like, even with the FODMAP diet I'm on, I mean, I've been doing the FODMAP diet for a good couple of months or whatever. I do feel cleaner. Like I don't. Back in the day when I wasn't on a diet, I always was very apprehensive and had anxiety just going into new places, walking around, even going into supermarkets. I had like so much anxiety. Now I don't have anxiety like that. I don't have anxiety going to walking into new areas or showing up at populated places or whatever the case may be. Like I would never, like back in the day, like 5 years ago, I probably would never sign up for like an outdoor activity because I had that much anxiety of fear smelling bad. But Now I am. So there is progress in the FODMAP diet. Like mentally, I don't have that fear, but there's still these lingering thoughts or beliefs, or maybe it is. I'm actually overhearing it correctly, and this is making me like second guess how bad I smell. But regardless, I'm playing kickball. At least within this year, I play kickball. I haven't played kickball since maybe middle school, so that's like at least a good decade or so, right? I'm playing tennis. I went to indoor rock climbing, dating. I think I went on at least 5 different dates, or dates with 5 different women. And a thing going back to what I was saying originally, I planned on trying to set up a date for 4th of July, but that didn't come to pass. And I don't know how deep I want to get into this, or at least about this particular woman. Another video idea I thought about having is I thought about screenshotting texts of my interactions with women and putting them, posting them, like not showing their faces. You're not going to know. Maybe I'll have their name, but it's like, okay, just because you know their name doesn't mean you're able to know who the fucking person is. But putting their like certain screenshots and hearing people's opinions about how they interpret a message. Because sometimes I read a message and I interpret it a certain way. And maybe if another person reads it, they're like, okay, maybe that's not what she is saying or suggesting. Because one of the women I was trying to go on a date with for 4th of July or set something up on 4th of July, she's like, nah, I'm chilling with a friend on 4th of July. But prior to that, later, like somewhere on a Sunday, I tried to call her. I never called her in my life. I only went on 2 dates with her. Never called her in my life, but I decided to try to call her on Sunday. And she didn't pick up the phone. Okay, cool. And then maybe a couple hours after I tried to call her, maybe, I don't know when I tried to call her. Like a couple hours after I tried to call her, she sent me a text message. Said, oh, I just got this message. I just got this right now. I've been going to sleep a lot lately, and I think I'm going to go sleep earlier today, which might be harmless to a lot of people, but I'm thinking to myself, who goes to sleep early at 7 o'clock at night? But I was like, whatever, right? But then later on, like maybe a day after, she like messaged me, good morning, blah, blah, blah. And we're talking, we're text messaging. And she said something to the effect where she said, let me actually read the text. I'm not going to show you the text message, but she said something that just like sort of made me interpret it in a certain way. And maybe I'm fucking tripping, but I'll just read the shit. I don't know if I should. Basically, she said, I had the best sleep of my life. And it made me feel like she was sort of alluding to the fact that she had the best sleep in her life, and she hasn't slept like this in years or something like that. It gave me the impression that she's sort of hinting that she's like sleeping with men. But here's the thing, this is a dating app. Like she's going to see other men and shit like that. But even then, like the way that she gave off that message made me feel that way. And once I felt that way, I lost interest in her. And once I started to feel that, okay, maybe she's just seeing, and she's seeing other dudes, and when she saw this other dude on the weekend, and he banged her brains out, or whatever the case, it made me think, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to set up a date for 4th of July. But nonetheless, maybe let me just try to check. Let me just see if I can do it. So then I try to message her, hey, you have any plans on 4th of July? And she's like, yeah, I'm busy chilling with a friend. And I'm like, damn. Now all these things don't really mean anything. Maybe she is chilling with a friend. Maybe it's a friend that she knows. Maybe she did get banged out. Like this is dating apps. Like no one's committed to anyone. You're not committed to anybody. But is that a weird thing for me to be like sort of slightly turned off if I feel like, okay, she's already sleeping with another dude and shit? Now I'm like less inclined to Go on a date with her? I don't know. But I do want to say this. One of the reasons why I even wanted to date was also to verify if I smelled bad. So I wanted to get close to, get close to women to verify if if I give off some type of odor. Last date I had with this woman was at a bowling alley. And, man, I really like this woman, but that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to go too detailed into it. I mean, I did talk about it, but whenever I go too much detail into dating and shit like that, people get mad, especially if I say something negative about the woman. But in any case, all I just say is like within that dating time, it was just like an hour of bowling. Again, maybe this is just the paranoia that have been built up for years. Now I'm always just observing things and I'm interpreting it in a certain light. But I noticed like when I was with her, you know how like in bowling alleys, there's a table right next to where I guess this machine that pumps out the bowling balls that you actually hit, that you actually threw the bowling to the bowling pins or whatever case. Like our table was so far away that we couldn't like sit close to that machine and just sit and chill and talk. So we had to stand up, right? And I noticed like when we were standing up and shit, she would be leaning against the wall because we were all the way toward the end. She would be leaning against the wall, like her shoulder or like this. And while I'd just be like standing close to the bowling, I don't know what they're called, like bowling machine, waiting for the bowling ball to come. And I thought that was weird, and I also felt like, when you have your hands crossed, it's sort of like a defensive pose, maybe she's like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like maybe she's grossed out. And after the second time visiting, dealing with me, she was like, okay, this guy smells for real. You know what I mean? I don't know. But all I'm trying to say is I'm sort of burned out with dating. I'm burned out with dating. I don't like the process of constantly looking through different women profiles, trying to read something, trying to connect with them, trying to think of something funny to say, write something funny. Hopefully they respond. Most of the time they won't respond. If I do get a match, many of the times they just are not good texters. They give you less than a sentence. They don't give you anything to work with. They don't even ask you. I'm asking so many questions because I'm trying to connect with them, and try to at least make them laugh. They give you these less than a sentence responses, which are just dry and vague, and you can't connect with them. And then, even if you eventually go out on a date with them, many of them are catfishes or what I call fat fishes. But I can't go into detail with that because whenever I talk about that shit, people get mad. And then you're like disappointed because you're like, damn, I just spent so much money on you and you're not actually what you look like in real life. You feel me? So, and then when you get to know a woman and then you find like after so much like rejection or just low interest responses, you finally meet a woman and you like her a lot. So then you come on strong and then you realize, damn, I guess this makes me seem desperate. And maybe this makes her like you less. And then when you start trying to set up more dates, she starts drifting away from you. And it's like, I don't like this shit. I could go deeper into that, but I'll just leave it at that. It's already like 28 minutes. I didn't really want to make it that long. This year I was planning to like save a lot of money, but now the bracelets I bought, which were like thousands of dollars, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna start buying shit that I feel like I need to buy. I'm gonna start buying some furniture. I'm thinking like I'm gonna buy like a couch, put it in the back. I'm gonna eventually finally buy a TV and a TV stand and all that shit, and just do that because apparently another thing I didn't know about dating, if you want to bring a woman home, you have to have some form of entertainment. I don't have any type of entertainment. I have two computer monitors, and we're coming back in back of me, and that's about and that's about it. I don't have any other form of entertainment, So I don't know. I didn't want to make it almost 30 minutes long, but that's what's happening in Jermaine's world. The end.